might be the basis for amending the bill.
My Lords, I rise to speak particularly to Amendment 187, to which my noble friend Baroness Jones of Moulscombe has attached her name. She's mostly noble lady is mostly handling the planning parts of this bill, but she's otherwise engaged at this moment. And I think what the noble Lord Lansley was just saying is very interesting, because it comes down to the question of what do we mean by inconsistency. Do we mean that the local plan is trying to set higher standards than the national guidelines? In which case, what I would say is what we should have is national plans that set minimum standards, and it should be within the power of local authorities to set higher standards should they so desire, should they think those are appropriate or and indeed necessary for their local area. I think in terms of the question, so the noble Lord said why particularly CCAs, given they're essentially a compilation of existing powers. I think the situation is where you have a CCA has been created and handed to highways, environmental and other powers. Certainly in local perception, in the understanding of people who've elected people onto those local bodies, the power has been handed to this local body. It expects to rest in that local body. And I think we have to look in the context of a situation of what it's like on the ground. And I indeed spent the weekend visiting various local areas outside London, hearing lots of complaints about the lack of power that local councillors have to actually do what local residents want them to do. We have a situation where national planning rules have become far too bloated, and local councillors just simply don't have the power to shape what happens in their local community in the way that residents expect them to. People are surprised, for example, how little power councils can have over the type of businesses established on a local high street. Massive international chains like Starbucks can undermine the character and charm of a local scene, and all the local planning authority, the councillors, get left trying to have a wrestle about what the signage looks like, which is not really the issue that local people are most concerned about. And there's more than 550 Green councillors around the country now, and this probably gets to the heart of what I hear from them so often as expressions of frustration of how power is centralised here in Westminster. Now, I think Amendment 187 would affect the position for the CCAs. I mean, the amendment in this group that would seem to be the most powerful is 185A, which at least seeks, I'm not quite sure whether it does, but certainly seeks to make the local decision have primacy. And that, I think, is what the people of England are particularly looking for. There is a real sense the phrase "take back control" will be familiar to noble lords, and that's what I think there is a great hunger for around the country. And here we're down in the detail, in the weeds of how this bill works, but we're actually talking about something that's really important to how local elected representatives can decide how the future of their community is directed.